Hi, everyone. Give me just a second. Let me play something else here real quick. Play our regular introduction as I'm here solo by myself tonight. Going to enjoy our few minutes together. Not got tons to talk about, but we did want to come on. Ronnie was with me earlier, but he's not feeling well. And so it's me solo here for just a little bit. We'll go ahead and take a short break. How about that?
Short break, but don't go anywhere. Ed and Ronnie will be right back in just a few seconds. Thank you so much for supporting Red, White, and True. Did you know that your interactions with us on social media are vital to making sure that we continue to grow our audience? Please follow us on all major social media platforms, especially our Facebook page, so we can continue to share Christ through current events and more here on this live stream. Okay, just a little bit longer to make sure that you go grab your coffee, soda, or whatever you want, so we can continue with today.
All right. Well, welcome to Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. And of course, the big news, two big major stories would be major stories anytime. But the two major stories going on in the United States today is the weather situation and what has been going on in Minneapolis. Not just today, but further back, unfortunately, there was another death in Minneapolis. Border Patrol agents had to open fire, and a young man has lost his life due to that. I hope everybody can hear me because I'm having some difficult. You can hear me okay? Good. I want to take a look at a weather map here real quick. And we are blessed to have a friend who is able to work on these sorts of things. And let's look here. There we go. Let's get over to Indianapolis area. We are right there, but we're going to narrow it down a little bit. We're going to select Indiana, and we are going to put in Columbus as our search area, and you see it narrowed down just a little bit right there. We're down in the area here. We're still doing some work. I looked at it earlier, and it was giving me the right colors. Right now, it's off a little bit because we are probably should be light blue because we are getting light snow, not any kind of blizzard type weather for sure, but it is definitely coming down steady. And we are still in an area where we are supposed to get 7 to 10 inches. Let's back that out just a tad, and let's look at a couple of videos.
Oh, would you look at this?
Yeah, well...
Would you look at that?
Yeah, there's a few more blemishes on the car.
Oh, my gosh, just look at it.
The car is not perfect.
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well...
What the heck is that?
This place sucks. We should go somewhere else. Every other place sucks too. Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Beavis and Butthead and some dude flying around in the middle of nowhere can't decide if they want to laugh at the situation or say the situation sucks. But as somebody said in chat last night, it is what it is, and that's what it's going to be. And I encourage you as an intelligent person. I'm talking about you. Some people might not say I'm an intelligent person, but as an intelligent person, I would encourage you to stay in, to only get out if you need to. Maybe you're in a part of the country that isn't getting hit by this at all, and be blessed if that's the case. Enjoy your blessing. Most churches that I know in this area have already canceled service. Both of the churches I pastor, the Father's House and Old Union Church, both we have decided that it would be best not to have services tomorrow. And I want you to know, I take that very seriously, and I literally hate to have to do that. There's nothing more important to me than meeting together with my church family at least once a week. We couldn't meet together several weeks ago, and I was out of sorts for a while. I like to make reference when I'm talking to what happened last week, and then I get thrown off. I'll say, well, last time, well, that was too, and so it causes me minor inconveniences, but it throws me out of kilter. But everybody being safe is more important than Pastor Ed being thrown out of kilter. If you're watching and I got it, let me do something here real fast on the weather map. You won't be able to see this because I'm not sharing it right now, but I'm going to refresh the screen and select my location. And I know Trevor's watching. He's who helped me with this. It starts out properly, Trevor, but then when it goes to the location, it is back to that map that you're saying is from the original. So when I first pull up, it looks like the correct colors, and so that's what is happening there. Minneapolis, I have a hard time right now because there's so many things that are going wrong. The riots, and I'm working hard to quit saying protest because, and you look at video of what's going on up there, it looks nothing like a protest. It looks like a third world country riot is what it looks like. We're not talking about First Amendment rights. There's no First Amendment right to riot. And some would say, and I just heard just a few minutes ago, a video, and maybe we have this video. Let me look. I think that's where I heard it. I think Ronnie he had already downloaded some videos, and that's not the one that I wanted, but it does show?
I'm generally a pretty liberal person, but when I saw videos of ICE jumping out of unmarked vehicles and nabbing people off the street, that's when I actually bought my first AR-15. So I'm pretty new to this, but the Second Amendment's for all of us. And now I'm seeing videos of Black Panthers out in Minneapolis, chasing down ICE and other police and stuff. I think that's what it's all about. We're facing tyranny right now, and I want to be prepared for if that stuff comes to my neighborhood.
What have you sort of thought about it? I've seen the same videos you're talking about. I've seen some of the stuff in person that you're kind of talking about. I've seen some people on the right wing take issue when the left arms up.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the amendments to the Constitution are for everybody. We're all American. We all have those rights, and we should all be using them. That's my opinion on it.
He's 100% correct. All of the amendments, actually the entire Constitution, is written for everybody. And everyone has the right to bear arms, unless there is a reason that that's been taken away from you. And they only do that for specific reasons. Some people will say more people have guns than ought to. Even some of the conservatives feel that way. Ronnie said the other night, some people shouldn't have guns. And for a multitude of different reasons. But I'm not bothered by the fact that liberals want to carry guns. I'm bothered by that attitude that was shown there, that carrying guns, he almost acted like that was the cool thing to do. My question is, that AR-15 that you bought, do you know how to use it properly? Have you been trained? There's no requirements that be necessary. But let me just say this. I'm not happy that this young man in Minnesota was killed today. I think last night I said something about reading the fact that the left has been pushing the rioters to arm themselves, and let's see, riots, law enforcement, crowd control, illegal immigrants. That mixture just doesn't go good. Just doesn't go good. Especially when you look at the attitude that guy had right there. It's like it's another talking point. Well, yeah, conservatives don't like it when liberals bear arms. Bear arms all you want to, but use your brain. Use your brain. And let me just tell you this. If that young man had not been rioting in the midst of a riot, he wouldn't be dead. He wasn't doing his job. He wasn't doing what he is entitled to by the First Amendment. He was rioting. I believe that even the governor of Minnesota had said earlier that the riots, he said protests, needed to stop because they were now an unlawful event. That means go home. And that's what needs to happen. I don't know how it can be implemented. I don't have that in my head. But once people start, somehow they need to block areas off and say, get out. You cannot be here. And, I know that is a horribly difficult thing because rioters aren't going to listen to law enforcement. Rioters aren't going to obey the barricades that are put in place. That brings up the next subject with that. that brings up the National Guard. And if you've watched any of the news conferences, the mayor, the governor, boy, those two are sorry individuals. Sorry individuals. They have incited these riots and then sit back and act sanctimoniously like it's everybody's fault but theirs. But he's talking about the National Guard are not just in standby, they have been activated. Now, let me tell you what I know about this. They have been activated in a police role, a crowd control role, and those types of things. Don't go back to where people were saying that Waltz was going to activate the National Guard to go against ICE. That's not what we're talking about. That would be the worst possible scenario for things to happen, that ICE and the National Guard collide. That would be horrible. That would be the closest to civil war, I believe, since the last Civil War, the only Civil War we've had. That would be horrible. And let me look here. I see I've got some comments. All right. Wanted to make sure I had them all. Have you got comments over there that, other than from Cisco and Bill and Tanya?
No, I'm right, right and true. I don't.
Go over to yours real quick. So let me say this. There are people right now that are worried about whether they're going to have heat in their homes tonight, whether or not they could freeze to death. And it's not like it's warm in Minneapolis. Somehow, could reasonable adults get together and call a truce in Minneapolis? Why can't that happen? Here's why it won't happen. Hopefully it can. The left is going to say, we're not going to stand down until ICE leaves. The other side is going to say ICE is there performing a job. They are there to protect people. And when the people that they are after, ones who have, I read about one today, I may have a clip, may not have a clip. They were protecting a man who had raped a 15-year-old girl at knife point in front of her mother and her 10-year-old sister. That's who those people are trying to protect. And, you know, you're going to hear stories about babies that have been taken into custody, and they're using babies as pawns. And when you hear something like that, prove it. Because every time that kind of stuff gets said, it goes out there like it's real. The left goes berserk, starts throwing things all over the place about babies and 5-year-olds that they missed the part where that 5-year-old's dad abandoned that child by running from the police. They missed the part where they take the baby and that baby's family won't accept that baby. That baby's mother refused to take the baby. So before you start telling all of these things, have a little bit of fact to it. Just because you've seen it on Facebook, just because you got it from a liberal rag post, and this anymore, it's not even just the CNNs and the PMSNBCs or whatever they're called now that are putting that out. That is sites on the internet that do nothing but stir trouble. And people are dying, and they're blaming the wrong people. Allow ICE to do their job and take those bad people off the streets. Quit being sanctuary cities. That'll help the situation. Don't be a part of the problem. Don't throw up. Don't throw up. Don't throw on Facebook memes that are doing nothing but incensing other people. This is a situation that can be taken care of. People don't have to die. Nobody else has to be shot by ICE or Border Patrol or Minnesota State Police or Minneapolis City Police, whatever county that is, Sheriff's Department. They don't have to be shot because they can get out of the streets. They can obey the law. It's not First Amendment. You can say whatever you want in response to me. The First Amendment does not give you and it does not give me the right to riot. It just does not. And you might say, well, I seen the March for Life. There was all kind of those people. Guess what? That was a peaceful demonstration. It was a protest. It was an event, a well-coordinated event with security, and it went off like clockwork. And the left, if they're watching me right now, their heads are spinning because I used right to life in the same thing that I was talking about with riots in Minnesota. He's just a conservative hack. Call me whatever you want. If you can compare what's going on in Minnesota with the Right to Life march yesterday, then you're an idiot. You are an idiot. And I'll look you straight in the eyes and tell you, you're an idiot. You must come from a planet other than planet Earth, or you must be from some third world country that has no clue of what is going on in the world because they just have never been exposed to it. But you don't have that excuse. You are in the United States of America. You know what's going on, and you choose to be the way you are. You choose it. And people are dying because of you. Tim Waltz, Mayor Fry, any of you who are posting idiotic things on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and X, all of that, putting out TikToks that incite riots. You feel good about yourself? You shouldn't. People are dying. And you're blaming people that don't have control of that. I'm sure if somebody sees this, they'll say, well, look, there's what the right's doing. No, the right ain't doing enough. The right side of the aisle keeps their mouth shut too much. It's time to be bold. Conservatives, it's time to be bold. And it's time to say, in the words of Governor Waltz, enough's enough. How about Governor Waltz? You give me a telephone call and explain to me, and I'll even put you on here with the opportunity to tell me why you won't call down people that are breaking the law. It's not their right. You can't tell me that. It's not their right. And let me just say this. If you're in those riots and you pull a weapon, you better be ready to use it. That's the only reason you should pull a weapon, is if you're willing to use it. Because if you don't, what'll happen is what happened to that guy today. He pulled his weapon and law enforcement did their job. And I'm sorry that took place. I am not happy about it. If it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be on here tonight upset the way I am. You know, we got a major event going on of over 40 states in this country that are, there are going to be people die because of this weather. A lot of people aren't smart enough to stay home, especially people that don't know how to drive on snow and ice. Even people that do, it's unpredictable. Even the best of drivers can run their car off the side of the road. And there will be people that will lose their lives. I don't have any totals or anything like that, but there will be or have been people that have lost their lives. Let me look real quick at some snow and ice updates. Let's look at some areas, southern Indiana and nearby cities. Winter storm warning still exists. Forecast totals anywhere from 10 to 15 inches in some areas. I think we are still in the 8 to 12 or whatever that one section is. But I was looking at a local forecaster, and he expects us to be on the high end of that based on the models that he was looking at. At some point, there will probably be mixed precipitation with the temperatures where they are. And let's see, 13 degrees. It went down a degree right in front of my eyes. 13 degrees. That's almost too cold to snow. And a Fox 59 meteorologist and my friend that does meteorologist work both said that it's very, very unusual for the temperature to be where it's at and the dew point. And I think he said it was around -1 dew point. It's highly unusual for there to even be snow in that situation. But because there is, he believed that the totals were going to continue to grow here in this area. Columbus, Ohio, for those that are around the country, 10 to 12 inches of snow. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 10 to 15 inches of snow. Snow may fall at a faster rate, up to 1 inch an hour in Pittsburgh. Nashville, Tennessee. The storm will bring a mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Several inches of snow early may change over to ice and sleet later, which will increase their travel hazards well beyond just what the snow will do. We got friends that have relatives in Dallas, Texas. They're talking snow, not snow, but they're talking about ice and freezing rain. When the ice turns its gears on the high, things go bad in a hurry. I don't know if you've ever been in a real ice storm, but power lines go down, and they go down to the point where many times it's weeks and sometimes even months in areas that are hard to get to, that power lines are down. In 1998, I moved to a suburb of Richmond, Virginia. Mechanicsville, Virginia is where. And that Christmas season, the area had a real ice storm. And I don't know if you know that area at all or not, but the interstates just look like they've been placed in the midst of a forest, and you have large, very, very tall trees on the side of the road, in the median, and then the other direction going. And that ice storm broke those trees all over the place. And basically, it was like pickup sticks or whatever that game was, all over the interstate. It took days to get trees off the interstate. And that even slowed down the people that were trying to work. And it was crazy. I've never seen anything quite like it here in Indiana. We may have had something that's not coming to mind, but ice storms, real true ice storms, are horrible and cause damage that lasts for a long time. Atlanta, Georgia, wintry mix, freezing rain, especially later in the storm's timeline. The ice risk could make travel hazardous, even if snow totals stay low. And I'm going to look over here to Amy. It was around this time last year that we were in Atlanta. No, actually, we didn't make it to Atlanta. We were going from Alabama. The plan was to go over to Atlanta and then head back. And because of the ice and snow, we canceled that part of our trip to Atlanta, and we stayed an extra night in Alabama and let the snow basically come and do its thing. And we stayed long enough that we gave them time to work on the roads. But it was not quite this late in January, but it was in January last year that we went through that. And so I'm not saying we're smart, because we debated on whether to go or not. And we're glad that we chose, but do the smart thing. You know, maybe you don't have the money to spend an extra night in the motel. And most of our life, that would have been the case with us. We'd have had to sleep in the car or something, in which we probably wouldn't have done. We'd have probably tried to battle it on through. And don't be too proud to get with somebody that you know that loves you and wants you to be safe, and say, could you pay for a night of motel for us?
Yeah.
You know, your life is too valuable. You see, that's what tonight is about. The value of life. Yesterday was the Right to Life March. And of course, that is about the abortion issue. That's about killing babies. And we say those lives are just as important as anyone else's life. And then we talk about what's going on in Minnesota. And I'm so frustrated that guy had to lose his life today. You and I may disagree with what the cause was, but I hope we can agree that it wasn't necessary for that to happen. It didn't have to happen. And then people that are on the roads, you have a choice. I know some people will say, I have to work. And Amy will be in that position at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon. We don't have church. Amy has work. Fortunately, we live less than 3 miles to where she works. Her Jeep is obviously 4-wheel drive. She always leaves so early that she's going to be on time, even if her car was to break down, because she could get out and walk the rest of the way. So she'll be okay. But not everybody's the same. And if you know somebody that needs help, don't make them have to ask you. Call them up and say, what can I do to help? Do you need a ride? Does your family need food? That's what doing the right thing is. Be there for somebody. Be there for one another. Be there, be there, be there. And let me refresh the map again and see. Right when I first refresh, it looks like it is supposed to. And then let's see what happens when I go to, no, it still goes to the wrong colors. So we'll work on that. Don't know what we'll be doing tomorrow. Ronnie's on call and he spent time out today. He was in kind of a messy situation that I won't go into because I don't know how much information is out on that. But he was in a very, very awkward legal situation that isn't him being a problem. He just had to go and take care of a couple dogs that were in the midst of that situation. And so He'll be on call again tomorrow. If we need to come on, we will. We're distracted by the weather. We're distracted by Minnesota. We know that armada of ships are headed to the Middle East, and actually they're ready. Things could break loose any minute there. So we're going to close with a word of prayer. I hope that the passion that I had tonight is acceptable in God's eyes. I'm not going to say I hope it's acceptable in your eyes, because I don't know who's watching. I know that people that we know that are like-minded with me don't have a problem with calling things out like that, but you may think that preacher done went nuts tonight. But I think your life is important enough to go nuts for. Father in heaven. Oh, Father in heaven. Our world has gone crazy. And every day it goes more crazy. From the problems in the Middle East and in Iran, to the problems in Minneapolis, to the weather situation, and many, many, many other things going on in this world. Father, I lift them up to you, knowing that it's going to take a big, big dose of God to get those situations under control. And I bring it up to you, Father, because I know you can do it. Nothing's impossible with you. When we think there's no way those riots will stop in Minneapolis, Father, we know that you can cause them to stop. We also know, Father, that you give us free will. And those rioters, they have free will. I just pray, Father, that you would convict them in their hearts and in their souls and in their minds to stop what they're doing, to realize that people are being killed that wouldn't be if they weren't in the streets being a mob, causing a riot. Father, I pray for safety for everyone that's in the line of this horrible, horrible winter weather storm. Father, give people wisdom. Help them to seek your wisdom. Father, I pray for the people in Iran. I pray that they will be treated safely. Father, help us in all that we do to always say and do the right thing. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, I wish that Ronnie could have been with us. If we have reason or need to go on tomorrow, I hope he is feeling better. If he has to go out in the snow to take care of an animal situation, I hope he feels better and that everything is safe with him. He's got, what did he say, 2,000 pounds of sand in the back of the van. So hopefully he'll be safe that way. Say a prayer for Amy. She's got to be at work tomorrow. And if you've ever had to work in a place during a snowstorm, when you get there, you don't know when you're going to be able to leave. And sometimes it's the people that are close by and can get there. So say a prayer for her and her safety. There's some safety risks at work right now that she could use some special prayer for. And if you're watching and wanted to know why we're not smart enough to know that this is not the 23rd, I forgot all about that banner down there. And when I look at it on my screen, it's so tiny that I don't even really notice it's down there. We love you guys. Ronnie loves you. I know he's frustrated that he wasn't able to be here. Amy and I love you. And until for sure Monday night, before if we need, take care. And as always, go out and do the right thing.